To watch. Here are the TCU starters. There's Anderson, Emmerich Fields. The two juniors supply more than half of TCU's offense. K-State starters. There's Nino Williams in the starting lineup for the second straight time. The senior Shane Southwell has a left foot injury. He is dressed but unlikely to play tonight. Big 12 standings. See the top six. K-State currently fifth. A win tonight moves them into a tie for third with Iowa State and Oklahoma.
The top 5 teams on that list in the NCAA tournament as of today, according to Joe Lunardi.
Kansas State in home white. TCU in road purple. A lot of purple in the color scheme tonight for the players and the fans. Joe DeRosa, Tom Eads, and Jeff Hartness are the officials. And we're underway in the Octagon of Doom in the opening tap, controlled by the Wildcats. Baseline jumper. That goes down for Nino Williams. He's coming off a career-high 20 against Baylor. Also had 8 boards in that game. He's taking to this starting role.
Well, that's what you want from a guy that's filling in for a starter. Nice job getting to the open spot in the short corner for the knockdown jumper.
There's Jarvis Ray. He'll step back, shoot the 2, and knocks it down. We're tied.
So important for TCU to make shots as a team early, but especially Jarvis Ray. He's a guy that can give more to TCU offensively than he has been as of late.
Spradling sends it right back inside to the big man, Gibson. And he rolls it up and in. Thomas Gibson, the big man from Cedar Hill, Texas.
Executed to perfection. Get the ball to the short corner against the zone and then hit the dive man going to the basket.
He led Kansas State with 19 the last time these two teams met. That's in and out for Brandon Parrish. Quick hands of Kean Anderson. And we're going to see Anderson and Foster going head-to-head all night. It's going to be fun. From the wing, knocking it down is Foster. What a freshman year he's having.
That's not a guy you want to let get going early, especially from beyond the arc. This young man is an outstanding scorer. On a tear, 24 points a game in his last 4.
39% from outside the arc this season. And it's 7-2 Kansas State. Fields swings it into the corner. And again, Parrish comes up empty.
Well, that's exactly what you want to do against that ball screen. Quick second pass against the rotation to the open corner. You just got to knock it down if you're TCU.
Kansas State 49-15 at home in Big 12 play over the last 8 seasons, and they're on to a good start here so far. This is Williams into Gibson again, kind of fumbled it. Foster quickly gets it back on the interior. Gibson off the window.
Kansas State getting terrific ball movement against the TCU zone, attacking it on the baseline. Hit at the dive man twice now for 2 baskets.
And Anderson is fouled rolling to the hoop. And TCU needed something positive. They get the whistle.
Well, big key to making shots is your shot preparation and being ready. Foster was down and ready. Did a good job of getting to the open spot. So important to be ready to shoot. He was, and he drained it.
Coming off his first career double-double, 18 points, 10 assists at Baylor. Just a couple of big free throws in that game that he'd like to have back, but he's had a great year. Spradling off the miss. Gets it to Foster. Spradling, the veteran from Overland Park. Such a steady, calm influence on this Kansas State team. Oh, that was halfway down for Foster. Fields for a wide open 3 off the heel. And Lawrence corrals it for the Wildcats.
TCU has gotten some good looks so far. None of them have gone down. They need to make some perimeter shots early in this game.
Nino Williams from the baseline. Goes off the back iron. And it's going to belong to TCU. Back-to-back top 25 wins on this floor against Texas against Kansas. They stormed the floor after that win over the Jayhawks. Gibson goes to the bench, and the big DJ Johnson comes in, 6'9", 250, the sophomore out of St. Louis. Whistle, a foul underneath. And here's on Johnson. That's his first. Second on Kansas State.
Shepard and Johnson, two big boys going at it on the interior. Johnson at 250 pounds. Shepard, just a freshman, but stands 225. And his game really, Clay, is more of a face-up type player in the post, on that mid-post area and around the elbow.
Now there's another foul away from the ball, and that goes against Amari Lawrence, senior from the Bronx. Parrish finally gets it in. Here is Shepard. Top recruit for Trent Johnson, who really has a bright future with the Frogs. Anderson for Fields. Boy, this is a physical game early. 2 now on Nino Williams.
So important defensively if you're Kansas State to keep Kean Anderson in check. You see the nice hedge on the ball screen there by Johnson. Just got caught throwing Shepard down to the ground when he recovered, Clay. Can't do that. That's an automatic.
Parrish drives to the baseline, throws it up, no. Ooh, and a hard foul underneath. And Amari Lawrence got the worst of it.
And that quick second pass out of the rotation, the way Kansas State is hard hedging that ball screen, is going to be open in the corner for TCU. They've got to knock down shots and finish those plays when they drive it.
Well, they shot just 35% in the loss to Kansas State in Fort Worth last month in that 65-47 game. And out to a cool start here tonight on the road. Scrabbling to Foster. Everybody getting a touch. Lawrence to Foster on the baseline, and he banks it in.
Tremendous finish by Marcus Foster in traffic, getting bumped. One of the things that separated him as a freshman is his ability to physically play through contact and still finish. Good example of it right there.
Fields gets a much-needed basket for TCU.
Emmerich Fields basically playing on one leg right now. Trent has been hamstrung most of the year. Can't even really practice 5-on-5 right now. Fields is a big reason for that. Can't take the pounding in practice and the game action, but that was a nice finish.
Spradling. Boy, I know you like his game.
Love Spradling. There isn't a coach in the country that wouldn't take that young man on his team. He plays within himself. He makes open shots. He defends at a high level.
92 career starts in 94 career games. 13 for Kansas State. Here's Ray. And the rebound by DJ Johnson. TCU 2 of 8 from the field to start. And we've got a timeout with 14-17 to go here in the first half. All Wildcats here early. When we come back, a Syracuse-Florida update, both on upset alert. (13-4) Kansas State leading TCU with 14-17 left to play here in the first half. Kansas State, that offense starting to pick up 70 or more points in 12 of the last 16 games, but this is a defensive-minded team.
An outstanding defensive team, and had the opportunity to watch practice yesterday, and Bruce Weber and his staff, Chris Lowry, a big part of it defensively, do such a good job of teaching the fundamentals of defense, being in great position, giving great help. Easy to see why they're one of the best defensive teams in the country.
How about Syracuse and Florida getting rubs tonight?
Well, the big story with that is against two teams that are at the bottom of their leagues. You're never safe in league play.
and at home. It's just amazing to them. And TCU is going to get it back here.
So far, Kansas State doing an outstanding job of getting the basketball inside against the TCU zone. TCU's got to keep it out of there.
There's Hudson Price, the son of Mark Price, who had a great career in the NBA. He's in the scoring column.
Anytime you attack zone, Clay, you want to get the basketball down to the baseline in the short corner in the middle of the floor.
There's Foster. Lawrence, the offensive rebound. The putback is no good. And Christian Gore brings it down for TCU. Gore goes all the way in, but he's called for the foul. Offensive foul on Gore.
Look at Christian Gore. You got to recognize that you had Kian Anderson, your leading scorer and best transition player, up ahead of you, and just throw the basketball ahead. If somebody's ahead and they're open, Clay, they got to get the ball, especially when it's Kian Anderson.
Christian Gore, the transfer from Brown out of the Ivy League. He's been good energy off the bench. Bad decision there. Foster had 16 points the last time these two teams met. Gibson misses the baseline jumper.
And the difference on that possession was the basketball never got to the middle and never got to the baseline until Gibson took the jump shot. Probably not what Bruce Weber's looking for out of his own offense.
Anderson behind the back dribble out to Price. He'll launch the three. Tipped up by Gore, no good. Gibson falls it in. From the Wildcats in transition.
TCU getting really good shots so far, Clay, just not knocking them down.
And it's going to stay with Kansas State. We're going to see Javon Thomas into the game for the Wildcats for the first time. The quick freshman point guard who distributes very well. Spradling will get a rest.
They get a little quicker with Javon Thomas on the floor, lightning fast. They're going to lose outside shooting of Spradling and his ability to attack the zone in terms of understanding what the Kansas State offense is looking for.
Brian Schultz also into the game. Number 24 for K-State. Senior from Wichita. And that's a turnover. That's an offensive foul on Schultz. Big upset to tell you about on the other side of this break. 11:46 to go here in Manhattan, first half. Set by TCU here at home. And so far, so good. Kansas State has looked good, especially on the inside.
Points in the paint have been huge. They've done it by attacking the zone and getting the ball to the baseline and the middle of the floor. And Gibson's finished it when he's got it in there. See Marcus Foster sneaking in behind the defense on that one.
13-6, Kansas State.
If you're TCU, you have to get Kian Anderson going, Clay. We're 8 minutes plus into this game. He does not have a shot attempt yet.
He averages 17 points. There's a turnover as Shepard coughs it up in the lane. Wesley Iwundu fouled going in. That's on Gore. He's got two. Kansas State has had its road woes this year. 5 straight road losses. But here at home, quite a different story. They've won 13 in a row in this building. Some say the road woes are the reason that this team is still technically on the bubble. Iwundu, good pass. Schultz can't finish. And he'll get a trip to the line. Good hustle by Schultz.
He didn't expect to be that open, Clay. He got too excited. I'm not sure that basketball hit the rim. See Schultz diving down the middle like he's supposed to. Well, that didn't hit the rim. It's a walk.
And for Kansas State, free throw shooting has been an Achilles heel. They rank last in the Big 12 at under 65%.
TCU sitting on 6 points as we approach the halfway mark of the first half. Kian Anderson already had 10 points against Kansas at this point in the game. Got to find a way to get him going off a ball screen, maybe run him off a down screen, let him curl into the paint. He needs to get a shot up.
Walk-on gets 1 of 2 at the line, and now a foul here in K-State. ESPNU is the place for college hoops. This Sunday it starts at 6 with another edition of ACC Sunday Night Hoops as Pitt hosts Florida State. Then at 8 we move on to the Pac-12. Arizona State taking on Utah. Arizona State, of course, beating Arizona on Friday. College basketball doubleheader Sunday on the U. Both games also live on Watch ESPN. TCU just 3 of 12 shooting so far. Here's Ray. Drives in, has it stripped.
Kansas State active defensively, not just in moving their feet, but with their hands. Tough team to play against when you get in that paint. They're going to swarm the basketball on penetration.
They lead the Big 12 in defense, allowing teams to score under 64 points per game. Here's Schultz, he'll try a 3 from the corner. Vibrates off the iron. Here comes Anderson the other way, still without a point. Parrish saves it, but right into the hands of Javon Thomas. Thomas goes right in. Missed the shot. And it's going to belong to TCU.
Smart play by Kian Anderson defensively. First of all, not to pick up the foul, but to make Javon Thomas have to change his shot at the very end of his drive. Led to the miss in TCU basketball.
Just saw Bruce Weber a second ago. Reigning Big 12 Coach of the Year. 44 wins at Kansas State in his first 2 seasons. A win tonight, and he ties the great Lon Kruger for most school wins by head coach in his first 2 seasons.
How about the coaching in the Big 12 Conference, Clay? 6 guys that have been to a Final Four.
And Schultz fouls Price. Kansas State already with 17 fouls. Lon Kruger, of course, now at Oklahoma, but still part of his heart is here in Manhattan, where he went to school.
Well, it always is anytime that you play and have the opportunity to coach at your alma mater. I've done that, Clay, and it's definitely a special thing when you can come back and coach at the school that you played at.
Now, when you were at Western Kentucky, you played in this building. You know how hard it is to win here. Stradling missed the 3. TCU grabs the rebound.
It was 20-plus years ago, and it was rocking just like it is tonight in an NFT tournament game.
You told me you were 29 years old, so that doesn't add up. There's a foul. That's on Javon Thomas.
And one of Kian Anderson's great strengths is in transition. Nice change of pace, and he drove the ball straight at the rim. Too many guys want to arc off and get away from the basket on that. Kian Anderson attacked the basket in a straight line. And that's why he's at the foul line.
First point for Anderson. It comes well past the midway point of the first half. He's been on fire. 20-plus points in 5 of the last 7 games. Double figures 19 times this season, but to a quiet start here on this Wednesday night in Manhattan. 1 of 2. This is the first Wednesday night game of 2014 for K-State. And that's through the hands of Foster, and it's a Wildcats turnover.
He just took his eye off the basketball for a second and lost it out of bounds. Kansas State executed against the zone well early. Have not gotten the ball into the middle on the baseline since, and they're struggling because of it. Kansas State is hard hedging so much around the three-point line on Kean Anderson. A re-screen might give him an opportunity to turn the corner and get in the paint. Good extra pass.
Oh, but Price bobbled it. Nearly turned it over with 3 on the shot clock. Here's Anderson. You bet.
Well, Price should have shot the first one, almost lost it, and then got it to the right guy. We got a 2-possession game.
Lawrence. Gibson. He tried to pass it across the lane for Lawrence. Threw it right to TCU. Anderson on the run, throws it up and in.
Clay, if you don't get Kean Anderson stopped well before the top of the key, he is going to get to the basket. This young man is underrated. His team has not won any games in the Big 12 Conference, so he doesn't get a lot of love and attention. But I'm telling you, this is one of the better guards in the Big 12 Conference. You see the little change of pace and the nice floater. Like all small guards, Clay, that score, he's got a variety of shots around the basket. I had the opportunity to coach one of the great small guards, shot makers in the recent college basketball, Devin Downey in South Carolina. This young man's got that similar kind of array of shots. If you're small, you better find a lot of ways to get it in the rim.
Now Bruce Weber sees TCU go on a mini 6-0 run, so he calls the timeout. Don't miss a doubleheader of college hoops on Saturday on the U. First at 7:30, great clash in the Big 12. Number 19 Texas, number 8 Kansas. Then Temple and number 22 Memphis at 9:30 on ESPNU. Also live on Watch ESPN. Wiggins, the game winner last night against Texas Tech in Lubbock. He and Joel Embiid have been fun to watch this year. A couple of future pros.
And the thing that's been so impressive to me about both of them, Clay, is that they've been consistent throughout, and they continue to get better and better. You know, Wiggins' tip-in last night, or late basket, was in large part a result to the defense being so worried about Embiid and keying on him. It got loose, and Wiggins was able to pick it up. By the way, not easy to win at Texas Tech anymore.
No. Now a Tubby there now. K-State's gone over 7 minutes without a field goal until that by Lawrence.
Good aggressive drive and finish by Lawrence. He got the ball in the middle of the floor and went strong to the rim.
Crowd piping up again. How did he hit that? Are you kidding? That should not have gone in.
You can't let him get going. Anytime the floater drops, now he's going to try to step back, the crossover. This young man can do it all.
Here's Foster trying to answer back for K-State. Rolls off the rim. Got his own miss. Fighting through traffic. Draws the contact. They'll end up on the line.
And Kean Anderson, he can get buckets in a lot of ways. The half spin and the fade to get TCU within 2.
Wednesday night hoops from Manhattan, Kansas. Alongside former Sweet 16 head coach Darren Horn on Clay Matvick, and TCU is crept to within 2 here on the road.
And as we go inside the play, you want to know why Kansas State is good defensively? Multiple efforts on the defensive end. Keep an eye on Thomas Gibson. He's going to help on the ball screen on Kean Anderson. He's going to recover to guard in the post, and then he's going to come over and help on the drive by Jarvis Ray. That's what makes Kansas State an outstanding defensive team. Multiple defensive efforts, and especially when it comes from your bigs, that's when you can be an outstanding defensive team.
You know, they don't really have great shot blockers at Kansas State, but their bigs do a good job getting in front of shots, getting in front of shooters. You saw it there with Gibson.
They've been well schooled in giving early help and recovering in second and third efforts. A lot of teams are going to give the initial effort on the ball screen. They might recover to their post man, but most aren't going to rotate to help, as we saw from Thomas Gibson on the third. That's why Bruce Weber's teams are always outstanding defensively.
Gibson's still big at 265, but more svelte than he was a year ago at this time. He lost 25 pounds in the offseason. After the free throws, it's a 4-point lead for Kansas State.
Shaky ground right now for TCU without Kean Anderson handling the basketball.
That's the rookie, Michael Williams. Here is Williams for 3. Left it short. Fields tried to tip it in, and he missed.
You got to be a great shooter to catch a bad pass and knock it down anyway. Probably should have made the next one on that.
Wildcats give it up. Anderson leads the charge, and he's fouled going in. Nigel Johnson will pick up his first personal. Kean Anderson, when he turns it on, he changes the complexion of the game. And the last couple of games in the first half, he is averaging 20 points. We saw him a week ago tonight go off for a season-high 29 against Baylor.
And it's so important to TCU, especially because they really don't have anybody else that can create their own offense. Kean Anderson's the lone guy for that. So it's important for him to get going. And he gets some easy baskets in transition and getting to the foul line, which is so crucial, especially when you're on the road.
Well, Anderson started out slow, but he's already in double figures now with 10. And Trent Johnson, really happy to have him because this team is limited offensively.
Well, we've seen in the last 6 or 7 minutes, while Kansas State struggles, a nice finish at the rim on that one, but that's only their 4th point since the 14:54 mark. They have droughts, and that's been hurting them when they go on the road. That's why they've only got 1 road win.
4 now for Amari Lawrence. Fields misses the baby hook. Emrick Fields held to just 2 so far. We've got a 1-and-1 coming up.
You see the reversal. Marcus Foster with a nice job of getting the basketball in the paint. Amari Lawrence does a good job of not hesitating but taking the ball straight to the basket.
Pardon me, they're going to trigger it in from underneath. That foul was on Brandon Parrish. That was a 16th foul on TCU. K-State will be at the line the rest of the way.
There's a State throwing the basketball around the perimeter. They've got to get in gaps.
Comes all the way back out. Johnson tracks it down. Fresh shot clock for the Cats.
Rebounding's been an issue for TCU all year, and especially when you're in zone, Clay. You don't have a man that you're assigned to guard and block out. You have to go find somebody. That time they didn't. Gives K-State another opportunity.
Here's Gibson. 3 seconds in the lane, a turnover. ESPN's Journey to the Tourney featuring a rematch of one of the most exciting games this season. Number 5 Duke against number 1 Syracuse. Now, of course, Syracuse gets beat tonight by Boston College, so you know they'll be hungry to get back to their winning ways. Of course, Duke goes to North Carolina Thursday before hosting Syracuse on Saturday.
Saturday's going to be an unbelievable night on the family of networks. Syracuse, Duke. How about Kansas and Texas? I'm going to do my game in the afternoon, Clay, and sit in front of the TV and with my iPad.
Foster slams it down, but a great assist from Spradling with the no-look pass. And a timeout called by Trent Johnson.
TCU had done a good job to that point of not giving up easy baskets in transition to Kansas State and keeping this crowd out of it. But the deflection, Williams can't handle the pressure from Spradling, and the freshman knows what to do with it. Again, Will Spradling, an underrated, Clay, defender, creates the deflection that leads to the basket. And if you're TCU, be careful. Sometimes a transition dunk gets a scorer like Foster going.
Spradling, the senior, ranks in Kansas State's top 10 in 9 career categories. He was great in that Kansas game here, their last time at home. And I think we've got a Sports Center top 10 nominee in our hands.
It started with outstanding defense by Will Spradling. Created the turnover that leads to the transition jam. Foster getting up high and with authority. He's excited about it.
The TCU was within 2 a few minutes ago. Now into a 6-point game. Anderson falling away. This time it comes up short. And Shepard got the rebound but landed out of bounds.
Well, the one thing that's going to be hard for Ken Anderson, if he backs it out, even with the high flat ball screen, the Kansas State defense is going to readjust and be in great help. Force him to take a step back in that one.
That's out Spradling for the block. Bill Spradling. His first foul, and Bruce Weber didn't like it.
If you're Trent Johnson offensively, you'd like to run Ken Anderson off some stuff, but it's difficult because they just don't have the ball handlers that they need. Good job of sealing on the high side on that one in the finish.
So Fields gets the basket, and TCU hanging around here in the first half. Midweek drama in college basketball tonight. There's Marcus Foster, one of the hottest freshmen in the Big 12. He's got 9 points and a couple of assists here early.
Well, one of the things that makes this young man outstanding is his maturity, not only physically, but mentally in his understanding of the game. He can shoot at range. He can finish in traffic. He's terrific in transition, but in talking to the Kansas State coaches, they love his maturity and the way he approaches the game, well beyond his years and his understanding.
He had 34 against Texas, 20 in the upset of Kansas, 18 against Baylor. Those are his last 3 games. Marcus Foster, the true freshman from Wichita Falls, Texas. Go against Kavar Shepard. He's having a tough first half. And Jarvis Ray gets back up off the bench. He's going to come in for Shepard. They like Shepard, and he's the top rebounder for the Horned Frogs. But they're only true post because of injuries. And kind of learning as he goes. Big upside, but you can tell he's a ways to go yet.
Well, he's responded well to the challenge of having an even bigger role than expected. This team has been riddled with injuries. Very skilled player. He rebounds. Seen him take multiple charges in a game before. He's about the right things. He's only going to get better and better. Good foundational recruit for Trent Johnson and TCU.
Foster gets 1 of 2. He's in double figures with 10 points. 5-point lead for the Wildcats. 3.5 to go here in the first half. Parrish spinning off the iron. Here comes Foster. Oh, dribbled this off his foot and right to Anderson. TCU has 11 points off turnovers. Make it 13.
Well, Nigel Johnson's a quick freshman, but Ken Anderson's a quick junior with all the savvy on the offensive end.
And another K-State turnover.
He really just kind of toyed right there with Nigel Johnson, just kind of put him to sleep on the little hesitation, and then all the way to the rim. What he does so well is accelerate and push his dribble out to the basket. Nothing wasted in Ken Anderson's game. Efficient score.
Darren, even if Kansas State has a lead at the half, Bruce Weber's not going to be happy about that statistic. 10 turnovers already.
Well, they've not been very sharp, and against a TCU team that's been in zone, hasn't pressured, gotten in any gaps, done anything to force turnovers. It's been Kansas State's mistakes.
6 rebounds for Gibson after that one. Lawrence, the double team, but he traveled.
Slowed down, big fella. Made a nice move and then just got in a hurry.
That's on Lawrence.
Those are the fouls with the new emphasis, Clay, but that I do not like. Amari Lawrence is moving his feet. He's got his hands in the air. Jarvis Ray created the contact, And Lawrence is a big man, and it knocked him off balance. Look at the offense creates the contact, and the defense is moving their feet and keeping them in front with their hands off. That's a non-call.
Schultz comes back in as Lawrence goes to the bench with 2 fouls. 10 team fouls here for K-State. Ray gets the back end, and TCU is within a deuce.
Schultz is going to be matched up on Ray or Fields the next time down the floor. TCU's got to look to expose it.
There's Thomas running the point again for Kansas State. Gibson passes out of the double team and nearly turned it over.
How about the tap down to the corner by Spradling to save the turnover?
Foster off the lip. Spradling skies in for the rebound and has it taken away by Price. TCU could take the lead with this 3 attempt, and he got it. Anderson buries the triple. TCU with the lead. They're on an 8-1 run.
One of the advantages to playing zone is it limits the other team's options to run a set play to get the ball exactly where they want it. But they did the right thing there, going inside to Gibson to finish at the rim.
Anderson hustling, but he slides out of bounds. K-State will get it back.
Kean Anderson loses it just a little bit, going behind his back, which you should never do in the middle of the floor. Makes a good effort to try to get it back, but can't stop his slide out of bounds or get the timeout called in time.
So had 15 points for Anderson. The rest of the team just 9.
Important for TCU not only to force a challenge shot here, but do the job on the offensive glass. No putbacks.
Thomas goes into the lane. Hands off for Gibson. And he got it and one. Great effort by Thomas Gibson.
Good penetration by Thomas. Gibson gathered himself under control, went underneath the rim, used it to protect himself, and then just a grown man finish through contact.
Gibson has seen his scoring tail off over the last few weeks because of foul trouble. He's done a good job so far in this one. No personals. Fields for 3. And there's Gibson tapping it out and then tracking it down. 45 seconds to go in the half. Thomas, good pass again to Gibson, but he had it blocked from behind.
Thomas has been a difference maker the last several trips for this Kansas State offense, getting into the heart of the zone off dribble penetration.
Shot clock is off. TCU down 3. Anderson has 15 points.
I'm running somebody at Kean Anderson. Don't let him turn the corner.
Got it.
Got to run at him and get the basketball out of his hands.
Counts if it goes for Ray. Good effort by TCU to get to within 1 at the half. 27-26 Kansas State at the break. It's been a big night in college basketball. Anish and Dino will have all the updates.
All right, Clay, thank you. A game TCU team hanging in against Kansas State. The Horned Frogs trying to get that first Big 12 win of the season.
But Kean Anderson is a shot creator and a shot maker. This guy does it with range. He's hard to stop in transition. How about the little nifty half spin and then, oh, the help. I'll just step back and knock it down anyway off the fade. He turns the corner. He's got the floaters. He finishes through contact. This young man is an elite scorer in the college game and one of the best guards in the Big 12. You see the shot chart there. He's been efficient. Only 1 miss, and he's in the paint too much. Bruce Weber can't be happy with that. His team always protects the paint. They got to find a way to keep this kid out of it.
You talked about those K-State turnovers. 13 in the first half. They averaged 12. Now, with that said, here's a turnover for TCU. Nino Williams gets it back after Spradling, and then the crowd wants a foul, no whistle.
And the big thing with those turnovers is 17 points off Kansas State turnovers for TCU. A team that struggles to score has well over half their points off the Kansas State miscues.
Now this is going to go against K-State. That's on Gibson. There's his first foul. So take a look at the first half stats. And TCU did not shoot it well early. And that was before Anderson became a factor.
All after the 9:07 mark of the first half. It was like he was trying to share the basketball and get his teammates involved, play, and then he said, you know what, guys, I need to go get us some buckets. We're falling behind here.
Junior from Fort Worth. Between the legs. Gets it to Ray. Jarvis Ray going in, draws the body. Didn't get the shot to go, but the foul is called on Gibson, and he has 2 early ones here in the second half.
Kian Anderson on the setup. Gets a little dribble penetration, draws the help. Gets Lawrence out of position just a touch. And he's able to draw the foul on the drive. But it started with Kian Anderson's ability to break the defense down off the dribble.
Talked about Gibson's foul trouble in Big 12 play. No fouls in the first half, the 2 early ones here in less than a minute of the second half. Ray is 2 for 4 at the line. 4 points, and we're tied at 27. Marcus Foster had 10 points in the first half for the Wildcats. Got it to Williams, and that's his first basket since the opening couple of minutes of the first half.
Williams did a good job on the baseline of squaring his shoulders to the basket on that drive as he finished.
Fields leans in over the defense.
And Fields is capable offensively of scoring around the basket or hitting spot-up threes. A little scoring punch from him in the second half will go a long way for TCU.
He's having a good junior year despite being less than 100% after ACL surgery. Still gives him trouble, but he's fighting through it. Going in is Lawrence, and Omari Lawrence, the senior leader off the bench, has 2. Ray rolls it off the rim. And that's on Foster.
Well, you've got to work the baseline against the zone and watch how Kansas State floats along the baseline behind the zone defense. And Williams gets a nice finish at the basket. It started by getting behind the zone, working that alley area or the short corner first.
Ray back at the foul line. Jarvis Ray, 69% foul shooter. And again, manages just 1 of 2.
Well, the senior from New Orleans has got to knock down his free throws better. His team's in it on the road. You got to take the easy ones.
And number 1 Syracuse upset by Boston College, stunning the country. Now, it won't be a stunner across the nation. I don't think it'll reverberate like that one does. But if TCU wins here, that's definitely going to hurt Kansas State in their resume.
It'll be their first conference win. And on the road in Kansas State house.
Spradling knocks down the 3. That's his first 3-ball tonight.
Watch Spradling defend Kian Anderson. He's quick enough to keep him in front and big enough to give him problems. And maybe just as important, he's tough enough to battle him.
Shepard, he is still scoreless tonight. They got to get more from him. And then Foster went around Shepard, missed the shot. Gibson tries the stick back. Won't get it to go, but he'll get to the line.
Well, the big key in any offense, but especially against zone, is you've got to move the basketball. The quick reversal to the open man led to the open shot. He didn't hesitate at the top or be a ball stopper and hold it. He made the quick reversal, Spradling spotting up in the open gap, and knocked it down.
Kavar Shepard now with 3 fouls.
Well, right now, Shepard not adjusting well to the physical play. He's playing upperclassmen that are grown men on this Kansas State team, and it's affected his play.
Well, when we were talking with Trent Johnson, Darren, he said, you know, Shepard's my guy. He's got to stay out of foul trouble. That's been an issue for him the last 6 games.
Well, there's no question. And you see the head down, negative body language on that one, too. That's a maturity issue. He'll learn to play through that.
Price charges right at the basket to draw the contact from Lawrence. And now Lawrence has 3. So Hudson Price will go to the foul line.
I like the aggressiveness by Hudson Price, Clay. He hasn't been scared to drive the basketball to the rim in traffic. Sometimes I'm not sure he knows where he's going, but he's not scared to put his head down and get in there.
Freshman from Orlando. Wesley Iwundu comes in as Lawrence goes out with those 3 personals. Iwundu, another talented freshman out of Houston. 4-point game. Crowd again not getting the whistle they desire. Spradling kicks it out for Iwundu. And that's tipped out of bounds by Ray. K-State will have 8 seconds to work with. Foster catch and shoot. Off target. Comes out to Anderson.
Better get him stopped early.
3 for Fields. It just hasn't been a big night for Amrit Fields. It has been a good night for Anderson. Between those 2 guys, they represent 51% of the Horned Frogs offense. But tonight it's Anderson and not much else.
When you're on the road in this situation, you need a couple of those shots to go down.
Williams on a baseline, he's bumped. And that's on Fields. Timeout on the floor. Good game here in Manhattan. It's a 4-point lead for the Wildcats.
Got it done in the first matchup was they've got the bigs. Maybe the only team in the Big 12 that matches up with size and length at the 3, 4, and 5 with Texas, especially Cam Ridley on the interior, who statistically outplayed Joel Embiid in that matchup. If they're going to get it done on the road in Lawrence, they've got to make sure they get some easy baskets in transition.
Just look at the top 6 in the Big 12. There's Kansas, Texas at 9 and 4, Iowa State, Oklahoma. Kansas State at 7 and 5 can move into a tie for 3rd in the league with a win here tonight. 3 teams in the top 25 this week from the Big 12. There were 6 on January 20th. But you know, there are a lot of folks who think 6, maybe 7 teams from this league get into the big dance this year.
I think it's 6 for sure. It's the deepest league in college basketball.
Finally, the first 2 for Shepard.
Good finish by Shepard through contact that time. He took the hit and continued on to the basket.
Trent Johnson and Bruce Weber both think 6 at least.
Well, right now, Oklahoma State, Baylor, West Virginia not in, but Oklahoma State and Baylor are still in the top 50 RPI, and they're being counted as quality wins on other people's resumes.
And Gibson goes to the line as Ray picks up the foul.
Kavar Shepard, more of a face-up big, learning to use that big body to play through contact. That time he does a nice job amidst a slew of white shirts. You know, it sounds simple, Clay, but a lot of guys don't finish at the basket because they take their eye off the rim. You have to focus on the rim in traffic where you're shooting the basketball and play through the contact. Sheppard did it on that possession.
He's another guy that's playing a little banged up. Broken bone in his non-shooting hand. Missed a game a few weeks ago. Still not fully recovered. You can see the couple of fingers taped up on that left hand. TCU within 5, 15 minutes to go. This guy was great in the last 9 minutes of the first half. Kian Anderson scored 17 of TCU's last 20 points. Boy, tell you what, good minutes off the bench for that guy, Hudson Price.
Well, they're hedging so hard on the ball screen. The help man is coming from that wing player. Hudson Price took advantage of his late closeout rotation after helping on the roll man and got the bucket.
15 turnovers now for Kansas State. Now a foul goes against Iwundu. Check that. That's on Foster. And it's number 2 on Foster. Sheppard coming to life now.
Nice face up. Good job of keeping the basketball high for the quick release over the outstretched Gibson.
Here's 2 more points off turnovers for TCU.
Sheppard skilled, big, faces up, goes right into the shot. Well, the next step in that progression is you get Gibson up, you take one dribble and you punch it on the help man. Let him know you're there.
That basket, now 20 points off turnovers for the Horned Frogs.
That's what's kept them in this game.
Foster bangs home a 3 and a little fist pump. That felt good for Marcus Foster. He's got 13 points.
Kansas State's got to find a way to get some separation in this game. It's not going to happen letting that guy get to the basket. We've had Kian Anderson 3 times now, and he does this every single game. This guy's an explosive scorer that's hard to keep in front.
Nino Williams missed the baseline shot. Sheppard plucks the rebound. Here comes TCU with a chance to take the lead with a 3. Anderson had poked away. Gathers it back up.
Get everybody out of the way. Just let them go to work.
Anderson is 7 of 8 from the field. 10 to shoot. Price for Ray. Over the top of Johnson. Missed the shot. Sheppard cleans it up. And we're tied.
I don't know what was said on the bench to Kavar Sheppard after he picked up that foul, but he's been a different player since he's come back in the game. And he's been aggressive and playing physical basketball, matching the upperclassmen bigs from Kansas State.
Empty possession for K-State, who looks a little tight right now.
Well, we're not there yet, but if you get to about the 7-minute mark, all the pressure shifts to Kansas State. This TCU team believes they can win the game. Kansas State's got to make a run and get some separation here at some point.
Freshman missed up the backside that time, and it's tipped out of bounds to the Wildcats, who have it with 12:15 left. Fields comes back in for TCU. Thomas for K-State. Trent Johnson going without the tie tonight. You know, it's been a tough year for that man, but he is a veteran coach. He's had stints at Nevada, Stanford, and LSU. He's been the coach of the year in 3 different leagues. He knows how to get programs turned around. He wants to do that at TCU.
And he's keeping undermanned team in games, playing a defense that they don't usually play to give themselves a chance.
Spradling 2 threes here in the second half. Price, right hand is off the lip. And belongs to K-State when we come back.
Will Spradling getting to the open spot. for the open three, giving his team a little cushion.
ESPN Wednesday Night Hoops from Manhattan, Kansas, alongside Darren Horn on Playmatic. This is tighter than K-State fans would like. Here is the resume for the Wildcats. They've got 5 wins against the top 25, 5 against teams with RPI in the top 50. That should look good to the selection committee, but a loss here at home to TCU certainly would not, Darren Horn.
Well, the challenge, Clay, is when you get in that bubble range, they're looking more for reasons to keep you out than they are to put you in. And if you lose to a team that has 0 conference wins, it's not going to be good.
Of course, 2 Mondays ago, the upset of Kansas here at Bramlage Coliseum. Kansas with the #1 RPI in the country. They knocked him off. The crowd stormed the floor after the game. Without question, the biggest win of their year, the biggest win maybe for Bruce Weber in his time here at Kansas State.
Well, the challenge is coaching is getting players up for a game like this one. When you're playing a winless team in league play, they're always going to be ready when they play Kansas. We saw at Syracuse tonight, not ready to play Boston College. I bet they're ready against Duke on Saturday.
Oh, how about Emrick Fields taking that right off the fingertips of DJ Johnson?
Good job by Fields coming over on the help. Johnson opened his shoulders instead of squaring them to the backboard. He exposed himself to the block.
Scrambling for Foster. 9 to shoot. Foster rises up, misses the long jumper, but there's Nino Williams. He's got 6 now. Lead back to 5 for the Wildcats, and TCU turns it over.
And Nino Williams able to get to the offensive glass, and nobody puts a body on him. That's the danger of being in zone. You don't have a man that you're assigned to. Guards have to drop down inside and help out on that. Nobody did, and he gets the putback.
Williams starting in place of Shane Southwell for the 2nd straight game tonight. Southwell has that sore left foot. There's another rebound for Williams and a fresh shot clock for the Cats. Into the paint, Foster can't get it to go. This time Johnson with the rebound, and he draws the contact. He'll shoot. Great effort on the boards by the Wildcats. Doubleheader Saturday. Number 19 Texas, number 8 Kansas in the Big 12. Can't miss it, 7:30 Eastern time. And then number 22 Memphis taking on Temple at 9:30. A doubleheader on the U also on Watch ESPN.
Same night you have Syracuse and Duke.
Yep.
Saturday may be the best basketball Saturday of this college basketball season to this point.
Starting to feel like March already.
Get your remote ready to work and hit all the channels. Get your ESPN Watch app out. Take them all in. I know I will.
That was the first point for DJ Johnson, who's been red hot the last 3 games. 25 points in the 3 games leading up to this one. He's battling some tendonitis in his knee this year. Had a shot in that knee a couple of weeks ago, and it worked wonders for him. He gets 1 of 2 here. It's 48-42.
I know Kansas State likes the quickness of Javon Thomas, but I like Will Spradling on Kian Anderson. He's bigger and he's more experienced.
Anderson out of control there, but got some help from his friends.
But the key is he got all the way into the paint. He's crafty. I don't think the freshman's ready to keep him in front.
Shepard now with 8. Williams skips it out. Foster moves in on the baseline, missed the shot, and there's Johnson with the putback. He's been quiet tonight, but that was a huge basket for K-State as the lead is now 6.
Well, right now, offensively, the key for Kansas State is offensive rebounding.
Shepard called for the foul. That's his 4th, and K-State has all the momentum now. We're under 10 minutes to go, and K-State has opened up a 6-point lead.
And offensive rebounding has been a big reason for it. One of the dangers of playing zone is you're not matched to man. If you're not, you have to find a body. You're going to see Johnson on the weak side. And when the shot goes up, the guys from TCU got to drop down inside and give a little help. Price doesn't put a body on anybody. The guards don't help down. And Johnson ends up with a putback. That's been the key to Kansas State stretching this lead out to 2 possessions, Clay.
Also, K-State has done a better job against Kean Anderson. They've held Anderson to just 2 shots here in the second half. Anderson, of course, 17 points in the first half on 6 of 7 shooting. He's 1 of 2 from the field here since halftime.
Well, the challenge for TCU is if Anderson can get in the low 20s, which he'll probably end up there, somebody else has got to step up and give him a little something. They're playing well enough to have a chance, but they've got to hold on and not let Kansas State stretch this lead out here in the next 3 or 4 minutes.
There's Gibson. Left it short with that left hand. Williams tracks it down, and then he is fouled by Michael Williams from TCU.
Another offensive rebounding, and the key for Kansas State is that they're just keeping it alive and then chasing it down.
It's the first on Michael Williams. Nine and a half to play. Kansas State trying to run that home winning streak to 14 straight, and Nino Williams now has 6 points since halftime, 8 in the game. And the lead is 8 as it's a 10-2 run for the Wildcats.
He's working that real estate down in the short corner like he's paying rent for it.
Anderson takes it in deep, gets it back out. Ray, long 2. TCU is cooled way down.
Well, just step in and shoot the basketball. Jarvis Ray jab stepped first. You got to be Seth Curry-like to do that. Just step in and knock it down.
On Thomas. He finds himself in a foul line as Ray now has 4 fouls.
Bell out call. Thomas was lucky to get that one. Does a good job punching the gap against the zone, but you know, if you shoot the ball over your head without looking at the goal, I don't think it really matters if the other team hits you. Shouldn't get that goal.
Pretty low percentage shot. And officials gave it to him, and then he throws a brick up at the foul line.
The ball never lies, Clay.
Yikes.
That was wide left, like a field goal.
And comes back strong in the crowd with a Bronx cheer for Javon Thomas. Nine-point lead now for Kansas State. That matches their biggest lead from the first half.
Kansas State and TCU, I'm sorry, he's got to get something going to the basket.
Thomas with his second foul. That's a 6th team foul against Kansas State. This is the point in the first half, really, where Anderson started to take over for the Horned Frogs. It's a bad shot for Hudson Price. Williams bobbled it, but Nino gets it back out for Gibson. Foster regains possession. They work it into Williams. Good pass from Thomas.
A good ball movement by Kansas State on that play. Starting to get the separation we've been talking about.
Biggest lead of the night for the Wildcats. Timeout. TCU.
Kansas State has started to stretch this lead in large part because of their ball movement. Nino Williams does a really good job of working that baseline against his own. Watch him drop down to the baseline to the open spot. A lot of guys would just stand there in that situation. He immediately gets to the open spot.
Here's a look at Kansas State's remaining games. And you can see they got games at Oklahoma, at Texas Tech, and at Oklahoma State. And the road woes are the story of K-State's season. And a win in any of those could really help come NCAA seeding time.
Well, they've got to play Baylor and Oklahoma State to finish the year, and they're both playing for their NCAA lives as well.
And only one true road win this year. That's at TCU back on January 7th.
And Iowa State in that mix. It's here at Bramlage Coliseum, but a tough matchup for Kansas State.
Gibson is fouled. That's Michael Williams. Timeout, 7:20 to go. Kansas State starting to pull away. Has 3 teams from the Big 12. Now, as you look at this, out of Baylor, Oklahoma State, and West Virginia, if you were to pick one of those teams that's going to get passed up for the NCAA tournament, who do you think it's going to be?
Right now, I think it would be West Virginia because of their non-conference. They've got a few bad losses on their resume, and they're going to have to pick up more wins. It's going to be tough to do with the remaining slate.
Would you be surprised if all 3 of those teams missed the tournament?
I would be surprised if all 3. I don't see how you don't put 6 teams in from the highest RPR team league in the country.
I agree with you. Just over 7 minutes to go. Kansas State has battled with TCU, which is 0-12 in the Big 12 all night, but now a double-digit cushion. There's Kean Anderson. He needs to get cranked back up if the Horned Frogs are going to come back. And he's fouled here by Nino Williams, and that's 3 on Williams.
Kean Anderson struggling to get looks in this half. And a big reason for it is Kansas State is so far off and giving such early help defensively against him. I'm not so sure you get everybody out of his way. Maybe come with a little 1-4 flat action where there's not help right away on the play with a ball screen.
The thing is, he hasn't taken a lot of threes here tonight. He's 2 of 3 from outside of the arc. But he has been red hot from outside the arc in the month of February.
Well, and that's my point with going 1-4 flat with him. I'd rather see him shoot a little stutter pull-up from 22 than anybody else on their team take one right now. If I'm Trent Johnson, got to find a way to get him going. You're going to have a chance to get back in this thing.
He's now got 21. He's had 20 or more in 6 of the last 8 games now. That's on Javon Thomas. So K-State coughs it up again. 3rd foul on Thomas. Tell you what, these turnovers have been a real issue tonight for the Wildcats.
Very uncharacteristic of this Kansas State team. A lot of them, in fact, most of them, Clay, have been unforced.
16 now for K-State. That's on Williams, too. 4 now on Nino. 19 fouls.
A switch on the ball screen, and as Shepherd tries to go, the problem with that, 2 hands, if you leave them on, automatic with the rules. He didn't redirect him, but 2 hands is automatic. Had 2 hands in the back.
TCU 11 of 16 at the foul line tonight. That's well short. 10-point game. K-State leads. 6:15 to play here at Bramlage. Gibson. A southpaw off the mark, but there is DJ Johnson for the rebound. Spradling, nice shot fake, high off the window and got it.
Quick passing off the offensive rebound. Led to the late closeout and the drive by Spradling.
Shepard banging off Gibson, threw it up there a little strong. Thomas has his pocket picked by Anderson. Nobody in front of him. Doesn't get the bounce, and another rebound for Johnson. That's his 6th rebound. Well, TCU needed that 3 ball. And now Thomas is fouled by Anderson.
Kean Anderson getting a little frustrated, hasn't been able to score in the second half. It's tough when you feel like you carry the load for a team and you can't get yourself going.
TCU got 2 conference wins last year. It's going to be hard to match that this season with 5 games left after tonight and against 4 teams that are or were ranked in the top 25.
It's a tough slate. We talked about how deep this league is. Texas Tech is in 9th, and nobody wants to go into Lubbock and try to come out with a win.
Shepard will go back to the line. ESPNU, the place for college hoops on Sunday. Florida State and Pitt. So it's 6 Eastern on the ACC Sunday night. And then Arizona State against Utah at 8 Eastern. And the Sun Devils rush out that win over Arizona.
And Zahid Carson, we'll see him later tonight in a game against Colorado. Outstanding point guard. Had a big game in that win over Arizona.
Of course, the big news in college basketball tonight, #1 Syracuse upset at the Carrier Dome by Boston College.
Against next to last in the ACC, Boston College.
This goes to show you conference play on any given night. Anybody can beat anybody.
And it's a reminder, especially for those of us that have done it for a living, that you're dealing with 19 and 20-year-old kids. And keeping them focused for a long period of time is a challenge at best. But I can promise you this, Clay, Syracuse will be focused and ready for the rematch at Duke on Saturday.
So the check to Kean Anderson go to the TCU bench. Gibson scores again. Kansas State now 61-49 with 4:35 to play.
Well, Gibson all right shoulder in the post with that left hand. Shepard, as he matures, will understand how to take that away and play personnel.
Big bodies colliding, Shepard and Gibson. And the foul is going to go against Gibson. Tempers flaring a little bit. Trent Johnson upset. He's in the ear of the official Tom Eads.
You see the bigs getting tangled up. Shepard and Gibson. Just a couple big boys going at it.
And Gibson not as big as he used to be, but he's still a specimen.
Well, you either have to respect Shepard's toughness or question his intelligence to get tangled up
right
with the upperclassman, the big man Gibson.
Shepard got 1. 11-point lead for the Wildcats.
Well, that's the thing about freshmen, Clay. Sometimes they don't know any better.
Kean Anderson rarely leaves the floor for TCU, but he's on the bench now. Baseline shot missed by Foster. Johnson has it stripped, but he was fouled. And that's on Gore. Christian Gore with the personal foul. And DJ Johnson will go to the stripe. Now, we were talking about the upset of Syracuse tonight. For a while here, TCU right in this game and briefly took the lead in the second half, but Kansas State really tough to beat on this floor.
Well, it's a tough place to play, and they've been outstanding here all year. It won't all show up in the stat column, but Will Spradlin so important to Kansas State getting the separation. He's made a couple of big threes, and defensively, he's been the key to shutting Keen Anderson down in the second half.
He has been a great program guy over the last 4 years. Senior from Overland Park. He's watching Anderson, who's back in after a rest. Trying to pass it out to Price, and Gibson picks it off. Patience here by the Wildcats. Foster trying to get it into the big man, and another turnover for the Wildcats. It's number 18 tonight. Forced pass by Anderson. Anderson looks tired now.
Anderson very frustrated through a soft pass without a post-feeding angle to the interior. Easy steal for Kansas State.
Amari Lawrence for three.
See the value of Marcus Foster's ability to create off the dribble on that play. Gets in the paint. It's an easy shot for Lawrence. Wide open in the corner.
We're under 3 minutes to go now, and it's the biggest lead of the night for the Wildcats.
And offensively, the work on the glass and the ball movement of Kansas State have been the difference offensively. See Foster in the paint, drawing the help to a wide open and spotted up Lawrence. Good job for him to relocate the space down to the corner, create the open shot for himself.
Kansas State, not a great three-point shooting team, but they have been shooting it better in recent weeks. 5 of 13 out there now. As we take a look at the standings coming into the night, Kansas State with an opportunity to move into a tie for third in the league with the Clones and the Sooners.
Well, those top 4 teams are locked. They all have 6 or more wins against the RPI top 50. Kansas leads the way in that category with 10. Iowa State has 8 of those wins. But you get down into the West Virginia, Oklahoma State, Baylor, they're still battling to shore up their way. Find it hard to believe that one of them does not end up in the tournament when you look at the number of top 50 wins and what they've done in the toughest league in college basketball when you look at the numbers.
Speaking of Baylor, K-State still kicking themselves. Had a glorious opportunity to get a much-needed road win on Saturday and couldn't come up with it in double overtime.
Missed a couple of rebounding opportunities. Freddie Heslop hits his only 3 at the buzzer to force the OT.
Anderson. Johnson was there on the backside to clear it. Anderson, 17 points in the first half, just 4 here in the second half. Foster for 3. 2 minutes to go. And Anderson will go to the line when we come back. With a minute 54 to go, K-State with a comfortable lead here at home. All right, Anish, thank you. 15-point lead for the Wildcats here late as our game track presented by Taco Bell. Kansas State has dominated the glass, especially in the offensive rebound category. Kian Anderson has been the offense for TCU, but that came in the first half, not so much in the second half. Kansas State has turned it over quite a bit tonight, but it doesn't look like it's going to lead to a loss.
Well, the reason it won't lead to a loss is because of the job they've done on the glass. Not only is the number high, but the percentage is high. 16 of their 28 misses. That's 57%, Clay. Anything in the low to mid-40s is outstanding. They've just murdered TCU on the glass, and it's led to baskets when they've struggled some offensively and turned the ball over too much, and why they have a 15-point lead, 14 after the free throw.
Another big night scoring for Anderson. That's his 23rd point. And Anderson's going to come out. 3 starters still in the game for Kansas State. A minute 50 left and a 13-point lead.
You know, every coach has a different feel and philosophy, and sometimes you go with your gut based on the game, but with a 13-point cushion, it's getting close to that time where you ask yourself, do I get my starters out? What if Will Spradling were to go down with a knee or an ankle right now and end the season with this game in hand?
Lawrence off the heel, but Nino Williams, who's been great tonight, gets the rebound.
One of the marks of a good team, Clay, is finding a way to win when you're not your best. Kansas State not sharp offensively tonight. 18 turnovers. Have not shot the ball incredibly well. But they've done the job on the glass and defensively.
.45 seconds to play. TCU's back at the line. That's 5 on Nino Williams. His night is over. But a guy who is now a starter for Kansas State because of the injury to Shane Southwell has been doing everything Bruce Weber could ask. A 6'5" junior from St. Louis.
Well, this is a team that's played without Shane Southwell, and a big reason they've been able to play well is a guy like Nino Williams coming off the bench. It's been terrific on the baseline in that short corner alley area, working the zone tonight and getting on the offensive glass.
So Kansas State will go to 8-5 in the Big 12. Then close this one out. It looks like they're going to. Foster's coming out. Bruce Weber must have heard us talking about starters.
Kansas State with a big week coming up. Saturday at Oklahoma, Tuesday at Texas Tech. They've got to get one of those, I think, to get another road win on that resume just to be safe.
Meanwhile, TCU is going to go to 0-13 in the Big 12.
Going to be a turnover or a forced shot at the end. 1 second difference.
Kansas State takes care of TCU despite the Horned Frogs leading at one point in the second half. 65-53 the final, and Kansas State now in a tie for third in the Big 12 at 8-5 with Iowa State and Oklahoma. 65-53 the final. Coming up next, more Wednesday night hoops over in the Pac-12. Arizona State taking on Colorado. But first, let's go to the studio with Anish.
All right, Clay, Kansas State bounces back from that double overtime loss to Baylor over the weekend.